Excel, if you are familiar with the formula concatenate, right? Concatenate, let's say you have a first name and last name of customer, and then you have to produce the full name. In Excel, before you have to type that formula inside the cell, right? And manually drag it up to the rest of the row. In Power BI, we have a command button, merge columns, wherein when you click merge columns, it will produce the full name automatically without doing it manually from scratch. So basically, that's what Power Query is doing, or the backend interface. As you click, it transforms the data and it helps us to clean the same time and apply the necessary steps for the improvement of the table for visualization. Lastly, before I go to the demo file, um, Power BI actually has a certain workflow. Usually, not only for this business intelligence software, if you're using other BI tools like Tableau or Alteryx or um, other specific BI tools, they follow the same standard. The first step is to connect to your data. The second step is to build the table relationships. And the last step is to display or build your reports and dashboard. So what we're going to do today, we'll start with the connection of our data. This portion, the first part, connect, shape, and transform raw data. It applies to the backend interface. While the last two steps, building relationships and designing dashboard, it applies to the front-end interface. All right. So that's why I discussed it earlier that there are two interfaces. It's because of the workflow that happens in two interfaces. All right. Again, let me repeat. This first part, connect, shape, and transform raw data, happens on the back end, while building relationships and creating data visualization happens in the front end. The good thing about Power BI desktop is that as long as there are some common columns, or we call it primary key and foreign key, Power BI will automatically create the data model for you. So later, as we do the demo, as we import the table, what we're going to do is import, data model will be created by Power BI, and then we'll go directly to the data visualization to our demo. All right. So we have a very limited time to do that. So I'll focus more on the data visualization. Okay. So let me open a blank report and we'll demonstrate the step-by-step procedure on how to start with a Power BI report or Power BI project. So when you have a installed Power BI desktop, you can click the start button, search for Power BI desktop. And if you install it, you can go to the blank report button. So this is similar to Excel blank worksheet. All right. So usually the first thing that we need to do is to name the file or save it. But if you try to look at it as of the moment, this is a untitled file. So let me click the file button, click save as, and let me just name the file as Microsoft Power BI project and the date today, May 29. Okay, so that's always the first thing to do every time you start with a blank report. The reason why we are saving it before anything else, it's because once you save the file, Power BI has a capability to apply autosave every 5 minutes. So just in case your project hangs up or the Power BI desktop is not moving or stuck up, you can actually close the application, and when you reopen it, you can see a tab. We call it View Recovered Files, and that's basically the autosave recovered file. But if you don't save it in the first place, the View Recovered Files will not appear. So always save it before anything else. Now, as you can see, this is the front end interface. All right. And these are some of the command buttons that I mentioned earlier. Number one, we have the report view. This is where we can build our dashboard. Number two, we have the table view. As of now, we don't have yet any data. But later, as we import, you can see here an Excel-like report. Excel-like table. You can see columns and rows. And we also have the model view. As of now, we don't have it yet. But once you import a table, a single table is equivalent to a single box, which represent a model of a specific table reference. So this area is what we call the data model view. Now, since we don't have yet any data, what's the first step? The first step is to click the Get Data button. This is where you can insert or feed Power BI with your existing table references, whether it came from an Excel file, CSV, or SQL database. So you can actually click the Get Data. Sorry, before we go to that, is there any question? I can hear a microphone open. Let me check with the chat box. Are we good? Okay, sorry. I thought there's a question. Anyways, let me go back to the home tab. Since you are now familiar with the interface, we have the front end. As mentioned, this is the front end interface. Let me show you the back end interface. So how do we get to the back end interface? All you need to do is to click the transform data. Okay, so anytime you can go back and forth within the front end and the back end interface. Now, when you click transform data, we have here the link. Let's click the transform data button. And what will happen, it will open another window. Currently, we don't have yet any data as mentioned. But again, once we imported here a single table, we can see here a list of table names and we can see the content for each table over here. Okay, so this is the back end. As you can see in the taskbar, there are two windows open. This is the front end interface and this is the back end interface. Okay, so there are always two interfaces. Now we don't have yet any data, so I need to close this one first. Don't worry, when you close the backend interface, it doesn't mean you are closing the file. You're just closing the backend. So the front end is still open. Okay, so the first step is to import the data and begins with the get data button. And here are the options. So I'm going to import our sample data set. This is actually part of the, I think, the email invite. So you can check your emails too. There's an attachment of the materials. We have here two sets of data that we're going to use for demo. The first is the Excel file, AdventureWorks, and the second is the AW sales inside the folder. Now, before we import this, let me just give you a brief background of what we're talking about. That the sample data is related to a supply chain project, wherein our main goal is to see order quantity for a specific um, product, branch or territory, and customer information. So when we open this Excel file, let me just give you a short view of the content of the data source. So there are three tables here, namely customers, products, and territories. So customers, as you can see, we have 18,000 rows. All right. And for products, we have around 293 rows. And lastly, for the territories, we have 10 rows. So these are the information related to these tables. Okay, next. Another table that we will going to import is the AW sales. If you open this folder, it contains three sets of files. So this is basically the transaction table. Um, the database of 2015, 16, and 17 when we just open the first file. There you go. So we have here the content of a transaction of order date, order number, product information, customer and territories, and of course the order quantity. When you open 2016 and 2017, they have the same set of columns. However, they have a different set of rows. For this example, in 2015, we have 2,600 rows. If you open 2016, let's see what we have here. We have 23,000 rows. And if you open 2017, we have here around 29,000 rows. Now, what we're going to do is to consolidate the rows of these files into a single table. Now, instead of importing the file one by one, what we will be demonstrating later is we will import the folder instead. Power BI has a capability to consolidate records inside the folder and display that in a single table. Okay, so we'll be going to demonstrate that, and we can actually apply that kind of process in the backend interface. Okay, so let me go back to Power BI and show you the step-by-step procedure. Beginning with the Get Data button, I have here the Excel workbook link. If you cannot see Excel workbook link, you can go to More tab. And here we have a lot of options to choose from. Not only Excel, but there's a lot of options like SharePoint, Access, SQL, Oracle, even non-Microsoft products like SAP, Amazon, Google. You can use them as your data source. And every month, there's an update to the data connectors in Power BI. So just check out the forum online. In the meantime, I will use Excel workbook and click the connect button. And then I will open the Power BI sample data that we have and browse it on my desktop. Once I have it, let me select the file and click open. Alright, so it will connect. It will not take a minute. And you can see here a dialog box. Now, inside the file, we have 3 worksheets. That is the customers, the products, and the territories. Alright, so each worksheet is equivalent to a single table in Power BI. So if you have, let's say, 10 worksheets, so when you import them, automatically you have 10 tables. Okay, now, there are 2 command buttons available at the bottom. Let me explain this. First is the load button. When you click the load button, what will Power BI will do? It will import the data in the backend interface, but it will not do any data cleaning process. And it will load immediately to the front end. So the process is always back end, then front end. So technically, what we will see, the data is now available in the front end for visualization. That's when you click the load. Well, we will only click the load button if we assume that the data is already clean, or if we don't need to apply any changes at all. Okay, but if you think, I think I need to improve the columns or the remove some of the unnecessary characters within the database, that's when we need to click transform data. The main difference, if I click transform data, it will move to the back-end interface. It will allow us to edit the tables before it will be moved to the front end. So I think this is a much better choice. So what I'm going to do, I check all the tables and then select transform data. Okay, so what will happen if you click transform data, automatically it will open the backend interface. So as I have mentioned earlier, when you click transform, opens another window, and the main difference this time, we have the 3 tables coming from the Excel file. Now, common question is, the Excel is the underlying data. Let's say, for example, what if I remove a certain column in the Power BI interface? Let's say I remove customer key. What will happen to the Excel file? Will it also be removed, the customer key? The answer is no. All right. Take note that underlying data sets is not affected on whatever applied steps we do in the backend interface of Power BI. Okay. So this is something like you have imported the data, but the underlying data source remains the same. Eventually, when you clean this and you want the output of this to be converted in Excel, there's also a way to do that. So later I will show you how you can convert this to Excel. Because sometimes in data cleaning process, especially in Excel, it requires you to know some Excel formulas for you to clean the data. But again, in Power BI, it's very easy. You don't need any formula at all. You just need to click a certain button and it will improve the table. Now, to give you an example, or sorry, before that, let me just observe the data source. We have here the customer lookup or the table that we saw earlier. We have here the products and we have here the territories. So technically what happened is that when you import an Excel file, so technically the table is now present in Power BI as well. They have the same set of columns, they have the same set of rows. But I would like you to pay attention to this area, which is the applied steps, just to give you an overview of what happened. Every time you will import a data in Power BI, it begins with the source. And the original data source looks like this. Okay, so we have three tables inside the file. Now, Power BI automates the process of navigation, wherein when we say navigation, creates a separation of customer, products, and territories table. Okay, next, after navigation, Power BI actually looks at the content of the table. For example, customer key, prefix, first name is not part of the record, should be the header. Look at what Power BI did. Power BI automatically promotes the header. Okay, and lastly, um, by default, all columns is designed ABC 1, 2, 3, which means text. All right. But if you try to look at this is not a text column. This is a birth date, should be a date format, right? You don't need to manually change it. Look at the last applied step. Power BI assumes the data type for each column. It is always based on the first 200 rows. If Power BI see that there are dates, most of the content of each column is a date, it will display a date column format. All right, text format, number format. I remember in Excel, I have to do it manually through text to columns. And then right after that, I have to go to format cells. Right click format cells to edit the data type. But again, in Power BI, it's not. When you import it, Power BI assumes the correct data type. Not only in customer table, but also in products and also in territories. But although it's an automated process, I would suggest you always check if the correct data type is assigned to each column. You just click the column header if you want to change it. And then if you think this should be a text, then you can actually use a text format. If you think that's a date, you can choose a date format. You can always do it manually. But again, for initiation of the process, Power BI will do that for you. Now, going to the process of data transformation, in Power BI, there are query editing tools that is available in the backend interface. So there are three tabs: the Home tab, Transform, and the Add Column tab. Now, by definition, Home tab refers to general settings. Transform applies to modify an existing column, and then Add Column applies to create new columns. Let me give you an example. Let's say I've imported this database, and then I would like to apply some few changes. Let me begin with the names. So I'm checking the prefix, the first name, and the last name. So not all customers includes Mr. or Mrs. There are some blank items over here. So what I'm going to do, I want to display the full name in a separate column. That includes the prefix, the first name, and the last name, regardless whether the prefix or is Mr., Miss, Mrs., or blank. So we'll still combine it. And then right after we add a column for full name, I want to convert that column into proper keys. So technically, if you're familiar with Excel formula, I'm talking about concatenate. In Power BI, in order to do that, let me hold Control button. I'm selecting prefix, I'm selecting first name and last name. Release Control button. And if I want to produce a full name, all I need to do is to click the Add Column tab. And then we click here the Merge Columns. By the way, when you click the Add Column tab, you can see at the bottom that there are groups. We have the general, the from text, the from number, from date and time. So what I'm going to use or click is the Add Column tab. I'm selecting Merge Columns. And for the separator, I have here the space. And then I can simply change that title to full name. So I don't have to type any formula, syntax, or whatever. I just need to click the Add Column tab, Merge Columns, apply the separator, and type the full name. So the expectation is Power BI will produce a new column named full name with space as a character separator for prefix, first, and last name. So let me click OK button. If I scroll to the right, you can see that there's an additional column just named as full name. Well, two things happen. Number one, if you look at the applied steps, it records the changes on the table. And at the same time, it appears as a added column in the Power BI table. All right. Next, I want to display this as proper keys. So when we say add column, it adds a column. Now, if I need to transform this into proper keys, I don't need to click the format button inside the add column tab. Okay, take note, every button that you click inside the add column tab will always produce a new column. All right, if I choose, for example, the option capitalize each word, this is what will happen. We have two full names. The first full name is capital letters, while the second full name is proper keys. Well, in some cases, maybe you can say that you can right click and delete or remove the existing. But technically, yes, it allows, but it will actually increase the number of applied steps you have. The objective of Power Query is to add applied steps, but at the same time, minimize the applied steps to best practices. Okay? Well, the problem is that if you have a lot of applied steps, every time you click the refresh button, it actually iterates or loop from the first up to the last applied steps. Technically, it slow down the process of refreshing your data. So what would be the practice if this is not the case? What I'm going to do, if you want to remove an existing applied step, you can click the X button. You can remove it anytime. And instead of adding column, there's a transform tab that provides the same solution. All right, the main difference is it will not add a column. Instead, it will modify an existing column. So over here, I will click on the capitalize each word and see what will happen. It converts the existing selected column, right? It doesn't add any column at all. So I don't have to add and remove it. That actually increased the number of applied steps we have. Here, we have a lesser set of applied steps. So if, for example, I'm done with this, I can simply click the refresh with a minimal sets of applied steps. Okay, again, the bottom line is if you want to modify existing column, do not choose the add column tab. Always select the transform tab. All right, so that is the main difference between the two tabs in the Power Query Editor. Add column, whatever you click over here, it will produce additional column. Transform will edit an existing column. Okay, let's have more examples. Still in customer table, the next example is I would like to add the age of the customer. But we only have a given birth date. So how do we produce the age of the customer? Now, in Power BI, in Excel, before we are using date difference, if you're familiar with the formula. In Power BI, guys, we have here a add column tab, and there's a date button where we can click the age button. Age is basically a column that calculates, by default, it calculates date difference. But if I do this, let me show you some example. So add column, date, then age. Yes, it adds a column, but there are something wrong with the output. Doesn't look like years, no? It is actually number of days by default. It is the number of days between the birth date up to the current date of your device. Okay, so how can I convert this to number of years instead of number of days? Again, if you want to convert, do not choose duration under add column tab because we know what will happen. It will produce another age column that display number of years. So you have to age. The first age is number of days. The second is number of years. So what we're going to do is to go back to transform tab and select duration. And here we have a total years option. So I'm selecting this. And then as you can see, it converts the existing column to the number of years between the birth date and the current date of your device. Now I want to round off the values, round down the values. It will, the output is actually automated. It automatically increments every time there's a customer birth date on the same date of your device. But of course, I don't want this decimal places to be displayed on my report. So what I'm going to do is to go back to transform, and I have here the rounding option. Everything in Power Query is graphical user interface. You can just simply click or check if a command button is present and then just select. Well, the challenge is familiarity. Of course, you have to take notes when to click, where to click and when to click a certain button. Okay, so let me show you and click round down. So this is now the age column we're talking about. It converts the age into a round down procedure, which means it will only increment the age of the customer if today is the birthday of the customer. It will not round up to the nearest birth date. Birth date of the customer. It will just increment if today is the birthday of the customer. Okay, so that's the example for full name and age. We're done with that. Last two examples, and then we'll go to the visualization. Sorry, before that, I will import the sales table as well. Anyways, can we go to products table if you're following along? Now, in the products table, what I would like to do here is very simple. I just want to add a round format for product cost and product price, similar to what we did for the age data. So let me just highlight product cost and product price. And under transform tab, we have here the rounding. You can always round down or round up. If you want to create a custom rounding procedure, you can click the round button. So in this procedure, I would like to reduce to 2 decimal places, the product cost and the product price. Guys, please take note that when you are in the backend interface, even if you set this up to 2 decimal places, there are some figures that will not show 2 digits or 2 decimal places. Especially if the second digit is 0. Okay, let me give you an example. So if I click this round and then type 2 decimal places, all right, so it happens to be displayed like this. All right, yes, this is 2 decimal places. However, when the second digit is 0, it will not display 0 as an output. So this is supposed to be 3.40, but in the back end, this is formatted as 3.4. And there is no way for us to display the 0 value in the back end interface, even if we set this up to 2 decimal places. Don't worry about it. There's a workaround. If you really want to display 3.40, let's say, or 9.50, we can actually do it in the front end formatting. But please take note, in the back end interface, if the last digit is 0, it is not shown or displayed in the table. Okay, so again, later I'll show you an alternative solution for this in the report that we're gonna do. We'll display the 2 decimal places, even if the second digit is 0, can be applied in the front end, not in the back end. Okay, lastly, let's go to territories table. So territories, I just want to um, convert the continent column into uppercase. So how can we convert a certain selected column to a uppercase text format? So what I'm going to do is to click the transform tab, click the format, and I have here the uppercase. All right, so transform uppercase, it will convert this text selection to an uppercase format. Okay, now every time you need to update, for example, what happens if, let's say, the underlying data source, which is the Excel file we've opened earlier, has an update. Let's say we have the branches increased to 15 branches. Or for customers, we have 50,000 customers. Currently, we only have 18,000 loans. What we're going to do, if there are some applied changes from the data source, you don't have to redo everything in the back end of your Power BI. All you need to do is to click the Home tab and then click the Refresh All button. All right, what happens when I click the Refresh All button? Power BI actually looks for the underlying data, because as you can see, the first applied step is the source. So it will look at all the underlying data sets, look at the last available row for each table, and it will re-import everything to your Power BI project. The good news is, once the data is re-imported, that includes the navigation, promoted headers, change the data type, it will also reapply all the applied steps to the last available record. Meaning, if there are new customers, all right, all new customers will include the full name and then the age column. I remember in Excel, every time there's a new set of customer, I need to drag the formula up to the last row, right? In Power BI, you just need to click the refresh all button. So yes, we always assume that there is a possibility that there are new customers along the way, but we don't want to repeat the same step. That's the reason why we are using Power Query. It's not to repeat the same step, but to automate the process. Okay, so automate the process of adding full name, automate the process of adding age for new customer. Not only that, same thing with products and territories. If there are new branches, all new content added to this table will be converted to uppercase. So you don't need to redo everything. In Excel, we actually used macro. We record the applied steps, do the same thing for new data. but somehow macro is basically very there's a lot of difficulties, especially in the recording part of macro. You can always use that for automation, but there are some difficulties and limitations whenever you record something in Excel. In Power Query, it's very user friendly, and at the same time, very easy to navigate the interface. Okay, so in the meantime, I'm done with the data. I will import this to the front end. If you're done editing your data, just click close and apply under the home tab. Close and apply means it will close the back end, and all the changes of this table will now be forwarded to the front end. So I'll do that. Close and apply. All right, let's wait for a while. It will load. So it from the back end, all the added columns will be available in the front end as well. There you go. Okay, so these are the tables on the data set. Then we have here the table view. For table view, we have the customer table, the products table, and the territories table. Okay, and in the report view, you can see that there are 3 tables as well. And at the same time with the model view, we have 3 boxes. So again, one table is a equivalent to one box for this model view. Okay, now for the last data set I would like to import before we visualize. Let me import the, let me close this for a while. I will import the folder data as mentioned earlier, AW sales. And instead of importing the file one by one and then copy paste the record in a single table, Power BI is capable of importing a folder and consolidate all records into one table without manually doing or attaching each records in a single table. That process is basically, we call it append queries. All right, there are 2 ways to append. You can import the file one by one, and then at the end, you can simply click the append button or append queries, then combine them. I don't actually prefer that kind of process because as you can see, let's say you have 2015, 2016, and 2017. Let's say we have here 1,000 records for each. 1,000 records for each. And then you need a consolidated file that includes 3,000 rows overall. So that's the added value of 2015, 16, and 17. And then the consolidated is 3,000. Technically, you don't have a 3,000 row table. You have a 6,000 rows table because you cannot remove the existing source as you produce the consolidated table. Now, instead of using that, we have here a folder option. Meaning, from the data source, we import the folder. We only have 3,000 rows to be combined in a single table. So overall, it's not 6,000 rows, it's 3,000 rows only. And this is very convenient to use because the objective is to automate the process. For example, let's say I have, in the future, let's say I have 2018, 2019, and 2020 data. All I need to do is to place them over the folder and then click the refresh button. So what will happen along the way, Power BI will look for the folder and will consolidate automatically all the added rows, files in the table and display them as row in the consolidated table. But there's actually a rule for that, assuming that they have the same exact column structure and data type. So make sure that they have the same number of columns, make sure that they have the same header, and make sure that the table has the same data type. Please take note that merge columns are not applicable for this append query process. Okay, so the expectation is as we import this table, we will produce a single table with 56,000 rows. That is a combination of 2015, 16, and 17. To do that kind of demo, let me begin with the front end. Click Get Data. I have here a More tab, and then I will select the folder option. Okay, so earlier we chose Excel. This time we choose the folder. Click Connect, and I have here a Browse button. And I just need to browse for the AW sales folder. Again, make sure that your folder is already available. Well, you can also name your folder or customize the name of your folder because automatically this will be the table name that we will see later. So I customize it AW means Adventure Works, and then sales is for the content. Click OK and OK. And Power BI will actually display the metadata files inside the table. Currently, we have 3. Now at the bottom, please do not click load or transform because it will not extract the rows. It will simply load the file names. We have here a combine and transform data, which actually extract the rows for each table and display them in a single database. So let me show you that process. Combine and transform. So the data will look like this. So here we have a reference. What are the tables to consolidate? But we will not do anything about it. We're just previewing the data here. Let me click OK button. And see what happens. Now this is the back end. And these are some of the applied step happens. So when you click get data from folder and then combine transform data. So these are the parameters created by Power BI. And for AW sales, we have here inside the source name, we have 3 files. Year 2015, 16, and 17. If you really want to know what happened behind the scene, when you click get and transform, we have here the source, filtered hidden files, invoke, rename, remove, expanded up to change type. So the moment you click combine and transform data, Power BI will do the rest for the applied steps. So you don't need to memorize a lot of step-by-step procedure to consolidate the data. You just need to click the folder, combine and transform, and then you have this. Okay? And again, as I have mentioned earlier, let's say, for example, I need to add another file. I just need to drag it inside the folder, assuming they have the same columns, but different rows. Then inside the Power BI backend, I just need to click the refresh all button. Now, Power BI will recognize the file 2018, 19, 20, and so on as I click the refresh button. In the meantime, I'm done with this. I just need to click the close and apply. And that file or table will be imported in the front end automatically. And Power BI Desktop, by the way, it has a auto-detect capability if there are some primary and foreign keys available to connect the tables. So as we go to the model view, you will notice the table relationship exists automatically. So this is the transaction table, the sales. These are the what we call lookup tables. So we have customer, product, and territories lookup table. The reason why they are connected because they have the same columns. For example, in AdventureWorks territories, it has territory key and it has a match on the sales table, which is territory key. Next, for products, we have product key. And next, we have customer key. Okay, now to simplify the model view, I just want to tell you guys, because there's a lot of technical jargons I would like to use, no? But let me simplify this. The model view represents the back end or the backbone of your data visualization. So technically, the sales table here contains 56,000 rows. And the purpose of the lookup table is to use them as filter to the sales table. Let's say I want to see the sales, specifically order quantity per territories. I can filter them per country, how much is the order quantity per country, per region, or per continent. I can also filter them per product, product name, and I can also filter them by customer information. Okay, so we're gonna create a basic data visualization based on this model. And in order to do that, we can simply go to the report view and start doing the reports. Let me name this as sales report. So the sales report is referring to the AW sales table. And over here, we have a set of visuals that we can use to create reports and dashboard in Power BI. In the current version, you can see that there are some visuals with a lightning or thunderbolt icon. Please do not use that. That is a beta version. If you want to see the original set of visual, you can click the ellipsis button and click restore default visual. So we have here a ellipsis button. Just click the restore default visual. Then click OK. So you will see additional set of visuals without lightning bolt. So that is actually the default visual. All right, so let me just visualize what we have. Currently, we have 4 tables. Of course, we have the sales table, and the sales table can be filtered by territories, by products, and by customer. So to give us a better understanding, let me add a card visual. A card is used to display overall value, similar to a text box. So you can simply click that, card will be added here. If you want to add this kind of grid lines or guide, you can click the View tab and then simply check the grid lines or snap to grid. Okay. Now, inside the card, you can add a specific field. Now, we have here the order quantity under the sales. Let me just drag and drop it over the fields. All right. So it says 84K. But I want to display the exact amount. So how do we go about it? By the way, every time you drag and drop a certain field to a visual, if the field contains a sigma icon, it means an aggregation. Usually aggregation refers to sum, count, or average. If you want to change the operation, you can click that field, and under the summarization, you can change the formula. But by default, let's use the summation for this example. Let me check the exact amount. In order to do that, what is 84,000? 84 200 or 84 100? I don't know. If I want to display the exact amount, select the card. We have here a format button for the card, and we call it callout value. You can format the card and simply change the display units to none. All right. So when this is basically automatic, if the data is in thousands, automatic it has K, millions M, billions T, and so on. But if you choose none, it will display the exact amount. Now I want to add comma. In order to add comma here, just click the order quantity and then click the comma separator above. All right. Now question is, how did we came up with 84174? So what do we mean by 84174? If you go back to your table view, your AW sales, it has 56,046 rows, combination of 2015, 16, and 17. If you add the order quantity column that contains 1, 2, and 3 value. If you add this column out of 56,046 rows, That's equivalent to 84,174. So overall, for this project, we have 84,000 order quantity. So it's similar to an Excel report. We call it the Excel pivot table and pivot chart report. So as you drag and drop, it refers to the sum of the order quantity. Okay, next. Another visualization is I would like to add a visual based on the uh, top 10 products. So I'd like to display here the top 10 products. So to create a top 10 products, you can add a clustered column chart. All right. And in the clustered column chart, the requirement is quite different than the card. So it requires us x-axis and y-axis. If you're not sure what to place in y or x-axis, you can simply check. Do not drag it. Just check order quantity. So if I check this out, as you can see, it will place it to where it is best fitted. So it says should be in y-axis. Now for x-axis, let me go to products. Again, I want to filter 84174 by product name. So I have here product name. Drag it on the x-axis. And then Power BI instantly create all product names with order quantity. All right. So we have 293 products, but not all products is yet sold to the customer. So if you want to see all products sold, this is what we have. Okay. However, I need the top 10 only. If you want to display the top 10 products, we have here the filter buttons. Under the product name, you can choose basic filter and change that to top 10, top 10. And there's a measure that we can use to filter out the table. For that measure, I will use order quantity. So I have top 10, order quantity, apply filter. There you have it. So you just need to add top 10, order quantity as measure, then apply filter. Now to improve this clustered bar chart, you can click the format your visual, and there's a separate set of format for this visual alone. Separate format also for the card. So you just need to click the format button here. Let me switch on data labels to add values on top of each bar. Okay, so this is top 10. And up next, I would like to add here a column chart, a pie chart or donut chart. Donut chart over here. Here, sorry. So donut chart related to customer. So for donut chart, these are the fields. For values, order quantity, as usual. I want to actually display order quantity per customer occupation. So customer occupation is a filter. You can simply drag and drop this over to the legend. And instantly you have this kind of donut chart. All right. And then one more donut chart. Let me drag it over here. Order quantity again from AW sales. And under customer, let me choose the homeowner. So there you go. There are two sets of homeowner, yes or no. And majority of our customer is professional based on customer occupation and at the same time homeowner. So that actually gives us the idea of what kind of customer we have. Okay, lastly, I would like to add a visual map here. This is the map visual, the one with the globe icon. So I want to add a map visual for each order quantity for each country. But there's a requirement every time you choose a map, and you have to use these fields, continent, country, or region. You cannot simply drag and drop them because by default they are text values. So let me begin with the continent. So in order to change this to a geographical data, you can simply select continent and data category, choose continent. Okay, what we're going to do is to convert this not as a text value, but as a geographical data. Again, selecting continent, that's data category. For country, same thing, let me choose country. And for region, we don't have region, but I think the nearest option is state or province. Now, the indicator that this is now a geographical data is this globe icon. If you don't choose the data category for these columns, it will not display an exact location in the map area. But since we have it, let me add order quantity in the bubble size, and let me drag country in the location area. There you see the bubbles, and the bubbles, it represents the countries. Okay, and let me increase the bubble size. There you go. You can change the colors if you want to. You can actually assign a different color for each country. So I'll just choose any random colors just to provide legend for different countries. Something like that. Okay, and lastly, I would like to add here two filters, or we call them slicers. So I want to add a slicer per continent. Per continent is available under territories lookup. So this slicer icon is this. Slicer is also, alternatively, we call it filter. It filters the entire dashboard. You can use continent as a slicer. You can update the content or improve the appearance of that slicer to tile. Tile, it means a command button type slicer, and then choose the select all option. Okay, so that is part of the properties or format. And lastly, I would like to add another slicer. The last slicer I would like to demo is for the date, and that includes the order date of the AWCs. Okay, again, I'm using a slicer from territories lookup and another slicer based on the order date of the sales table. And the good news about the slicer is that when I click Europe, for example, it will filter the entire report for Europe countries only. So what is the top 10 for the Europe? What is the type of customers we have in Europe? And these are the countries in Europe. For North America, we have this kind of report. And for Pacific, we have this kind of report. All right, that's the last part of my short demo for Power BI. Again, let me just have a recap of what we have discussed. Let me just save this file. Very simple in the process. Every time you start a project with Power BI, remember these few steps, right? Always begin with the back-end interface. In the back-end interface, you import your raw data, whether it's Excel, SQL, SharePoint, folder, and then just move it in the back-end to apply data transformation. Next, in our example, the data model is automatically detected. But during the course, of course, we will discuss the step-by-step on how to create relationship between tables. All right. I just set the example in auto detect data model relationship. The reason why, as you go to the model view, everything is connected. But the bottom line of the model view is that you have a transaction table, which is the sales, to be connected to multiple lookup tables. And lookup tables, they serve as filter, like the products, the customers, and the territories to filter out the sales data. Okay, and right after all these things are applied, the last step is basically the data visualization. All right, one thing is not included with this short demo. We don't have yet the introduction to data analysis expression. when we say DAX or data analysis expression, this is the formula in Power BI application. But of course, since we have a very limited time, we cannot include that. But during the course, it's also included on how we can calculate data sets with formulas in Power BI. Okay, so for data visualization, we have discussed some few items. That's the report view. The report view includes the filters, the visualization, and the fields. And in the report view, everything is just drag and drop. Okay, the challenge in the report view is familiarity. So as I have mentioned earlier, you need to remember where to click and when to click a certain button. Also take note that each visuals contains a different set of formatting options. So we have a different formatting option for the map, a different formatting option for donut chart, for bar chart. So you have to select and click the format button manually. Okay, so the output looks like this, and we are able to build and see the content of the Excel data. Overall, what we have for sales, we have 84,174 order quantity, and we just added filters per product, per territories, and per customer information. Okay, so yeah, actually that's it for me for this afternoon. I hope you have learned something new. This is just an introductory course or webinar for Power BI to give you an overview as well of what we offer as a course.